Hey, what's going on, brother?
What's going on? I don't know, good evening to where you are. It's just approaching noon right here. Yeah.
Oh man, it's an honor to have you on the show, dude. I'm so excited. Now, I do have to ask. I've heard people say different things. Is it Firo?
It's Firo. Yeah, this is Firo. Though I heard a lot of people say Firo, which is understandable, but officially and within our own cells, we call it Firo. Yeah.
Okay, so that's good that you cleared that. I appreciate that, man. So, man, dude, I have to say, like I said, it's such an honor. And so, I wanted to have you on because I was listening to your last stream and I like the project. I've mined the project. I know a lot of content creators who have mined the project, man. I just want to clear up some things, ask some questions. And so, tell us, firstly, what makes Firo such a special coin?
So Firo is a privacy cryptocurrency, and we've been around since 2016 under the name Zcoin. And I think we rebranded in like 2019, 2020 ish. I think 2020. And I guess the main thing that really sets us apart, especially from other privacy coins, is that we actually develop our own privacy protocols. And our privacy protocols actually do have unique characteristics, right? It doesn't have trusted setup, it has very high anonymity set, and in fact, like a lot of the key ideas of our new privacy protocol, Atlantis Spark, is actually being adapted for use in Monero. So that's pretty interesting. So I think we are one of the few coins that actually put out like privacy research that is adapted for many other coins. Even Beam is also using a modification called Lelandus Mimblewimble as well. And one of the other things is that what we're trying to do right now is to build more like a tokenization layer, which is called Elysium. And that's actually on testnet right now. And what that means is that other people can build tokens on our platform, but enjoy all the privacy features that Firo has. So we're really excited about that. And we actually have a partnership with Oracle that allows people to bridge assets from other chains, like let's say Ethereum, or let's say you want to bridge USDC or DAI over into the Elysium network. You can then have a private stablecoin. So we are really excited about that. So yeah.
Dude, Elysium? You said it was Elysium?
Yes, that's right. It's on testnet right now.
I love that name, first off. And see, that's the thing. When you ask other people, or when I ask other people, what's going on with these projects, a lot of people don't know stuff like that. And that's really interesting, man. The way you articulated that, like, that's what I'm here for. That's what I want to learn. And that was a really good answer. So, upcoming plans. What would you say the short-term and long-term upcoming plans are for Firo?
Well, super short term, I mean, we're probably a few days from the next release. It's just a massive optimization update. I think it brings down re-index time to like an hour or so. But that's just kind of like the boring stuff, right? I mean, the real short-term goal are two things. First of all, Elysium testnet is already out. We hope to launch in the next 1 or 2 months. We just have like a few more bugs to kind of crush, and then we'll be launching this new tokenization layer, and really excited to see private stablecoins using our technology. That's the first one. The second one is that, as I mentioned, the Atlantis Spark, which I guess we can talk a bit more later. It's coming. We've already kind of built all the cryptographic coding. The cryptography itself already has been audited, which was raised partially using community funds, so that was great, and donations. And that's undergoing. We'll be starting the wallet implementation code pretty soon, and we hope to release that. I don't know, by Q2 of this year. Fingers crossed, obviously, but that's really our next big thing. This really overarching privacy protocol that really has I feel that has the best balance of all the different trade-offs that current privacy protocols have. Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot of stuff, man. I like that. Now, I heard you say stable coins. Is that like USDC, or what is a stable coin for people who don't know?
So, I mean, a stablecoin basically, I mean, maybe it's a misnomer given that how much US dollars have lost value from inflation, right? But when most people think of stable coins, they think of it being pegged to I guess like traditionally known stable asset, usually fiat currency like US dollars, I guess is the most common one in the crypto space. So USDC, DAI, USDT, I don't know, Luna. There's a bunch of other algorithmic stable coins. I guess the big boys like USDT, USDC, and DAI, right? Maybe like Luna or whatever that's called, right? So what we mean is that we are not launching a stable coin ourselves because there's all these existing stable coins out there. We're not in the business of creating stable coins, but if other people can bridge those stable coins into our system and enjoy the privacy, we hope to create like this place where you can transfer and transact in stable coins or any other assets. You can have any asset on Ethereum. The bridges actually work with Moonbeam, which I think is a Polkadot, works with BSC, works with all like most of the main smart contract chains this bridge will work on. So we're really excited about that, to see not just Firo as a privacy coin, but Firo allowing us to provide privacy infrastructure for other coins. And we think this is something that hasn't really been tapped. I mean, right now we are seeing, let's say like on Ethereum, right? What do people use for privacy? Tornado Cash, there's Railgun, there's a couple of stuff, and it has many limitations because, it was never designed for privacy. While having it on our layer, it's like, it's not just restricted to Ethereum, and the fees are super cheap. You don't have to pay like thousands of dollars to do a anonymization transaction. So we think there's real value there. Yeah.
And that's good, man. The fees, that's a big one. And yeah, like you said, Ethereum, the gas fees are insane. You send $100, you're paying, I don't know, $8 or something. So what is the fees for using Firo? If I want to exchange that, if I want to get, I don't know, Dogecoin or something.
Oh, you mean like on the Elysium layer? Well, the fees are really, really small, like a couple of cents, if not less. So I don't think at this current rate, we'll not even approach Ethereum or even Bitcoin level fees for quite a while. So yeah, I think we can take right now about there's no real reason why we can't do more, but currently how it's set up, we can deal with like 4 times the volume of Bitcoin, but it can easily go much more. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. 4 times. All right. I got a question for you. What are your thoughts on solo mining versus pool mining? I got a lot of viewers who are miners, and we are dying to know.
I mean, theoretically, there shouldn't be that much difference, right? I mean, solo mining is, we were talking a bit about it. It's a bit like trying to get a lottery, right? And there's that excitement that you solve a block yourself. Solo miners also, I guess, like, it's, some people may think it's more pure, right? Which is how Bitcoin mining originally started. But I do think that pool mining is fine as well. I mean, they are also important ecosystem players. Obviously, I would like to see more pools like using the new stratums so that, it is the individual miner that determines the transactions that go in and not the pool itself, which is kind of like a nice balance between having pool mining and yet at the same time not giving too much power to the pools. I think we've only seen very limited adoption of that yet, and I'm not sure why. I mean, you guys are the miners. You can probably weigh in on that. But I don't really have a particular opinion. I mean, solo mining is great, pool mining is great. But yeah, we're actually seeing quite a lot of solo miners on Firo, and maybe because our difficulty isn't that high. But yeah.
Yeah. So I remember in your last stream, you were showing it, and I forget the top pool, but it was definitely over 50%. Is that's any danger to something like Firo, or that's fine?
So 2 miners is the number one pool. I think it's around 50+%. And Firo actually has like a secondary, well, it's not second, now it's like has a additional layer of protection, which is called chain locks. And basically our master nodes, which there are over 4,000 of them, individual 4,000 nodes, right? And basically these nodes form quorums with each other. That means groups of 400 or so, and they get kind of deterministically randomly selected and what they do is they checkpoint the block, every single block. So what that means is that while the miners are the proposers of the block and the creators of the block, and they are the ones that put the transactions in, it is the master nodes that lock in the blocks, and they will do it by using some sort of BLS key scheme, and they'll sign and that block. Once that block is signed by the master nodes, it no longer can be you can't be reorged. So what that means is that once a block is confirmed, it can be considered final. So even though we have a small, a slower block time, right? We're at 5 minutes. First of all, transactions are all instant send lock. That means within 20 seconds or so, there can't be any double spends. And then once the block is confirmed, that block is considered final. So that's what the master nodes do, and they are, I guess, the primary form of security. Now, if for whatever reason the master nodes go offline, sufficient numbers of them, which is going to be quite a lot, right? Or there's some sort of disruption, then the security just goes to pure Nakamoto, proof of work consensus. So if you want to do a 51% attack of our chain, you either have to acquire sufficient master nodes or take down the master node network, and then after that, acquire sufficient hash rate to attack our chain. So yeah, so we like this 2-layer protection, and I feel like it's a nice balance because some people say, oh, why didn't you go proof of stake and master nodes, right? But the problem there is that they're the same group of people. They're coin owners, right? They're coin holders. While with miners, at least miners are not necessarily coin holders. They're kind of a separate class of people. And we think for a privacy coin, it's good to have separate classes of people providing different elements of security on our chain. Yeah.
That was a good, man. Loved it. You're making me proud. You know what? I also feel a little guilty because I'm not currently mining anymore. And hearing how passionate you are about the project, man, I want to support it, man. I'm gonna figure that out. We're gonna get something going for sure on that. So can you elaborate on the proposed change of miner rewards? I know there's been some talk in the community, some good, some bad.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, obviously this is a minor focused channel, so this may kind of ruffle a few feathers, but I'm going to be totally honest right now, right? And this is actually also kind of why I'm very happy to come on this show, is to see whether our miners actually do they care about our project, right? Because all along in Firo's history, right, even since when we were Zcoin, we were always very pro GPU miners. We designed a whole new mining algorithm called MTP, which was, kind of state of the art at the time, to explicitly target GPU miners, right? To prevent ASICs, FPGAs, and whatnot. And even now with our recent algorithm change to Firo Power, which is a proc power variant, it's really, really for the GPU miners, right? And currently our block reward is divided into 50% miners, 35% to the master nodes that provide the security, and 15% to the development team, right? Which is used to. So that equals right now with current prices, it's not a lot. It's about $50,000 US a month that funds everything. So we're not by any means a rich project, especially when you are hiring cryptographers, which aren't cheap at all, right? But right now the proposal is that we were actually asking ourselves, it came from a discussion I had with Christy Minahan. I don't know if you Christy Lay Minahan, who is also known as Oh God, a Girl, who was one of the creators of ProcPow. And she was saying we were just having a discussion on general about Firo and mining, and she's like, you guys are overpaying for your security. And this is coming from a miner, right? Someone that used to work for Genesis Mining and all of that. I know she's kind of controversial, but she's a big proof of work advocate, right? And she's saying, you guys are overpaying. And I was starting to think to myself, and we did some analysis, and we're looking wow, all the big miners are not holding the coin. They are, sending them directly to exchanges. And that's one thing, right? But we were also seeing we aren't seeing the miners participate in discussions on the community. most of them, like, even several times. This is not a new thing. Even when we were on MTP, Voscoin also covered us, and there was this guy who was running a solar farm. He's like, yeah, I'm mining Firo, but I'm converting it straight away, right? So, we were asking ourselves, look, we are giving 50% of our block reward to miners, and we have been big supporters of proof of work, especially commodity GPU mining. This is one of the core fundamentals of our project. And yet, well, in my opinion, or in many people's opinion, we haven't really seen the support, right? And several things came of well, what's the evidence that they're not supporting you? Maybe they're all just in hiding and stuff. Well, first of all, because the constant sell pressure, right? The constant we seeing on chain, they're not even bothering to use our privacy features. They just go straight into the exchange, right? So we are also another thing is that despite many times telling people, please distribute your hash rate away from 2 miners, even though we aren't reliant on proof of work, it is still good to have hash rate distributed, just for general health. And it's good, right? And we saw that in Monero where they were at track, there was one pool that was approaching 51%, and the miners and the community actually reacted and shifted, right? While for us, everyone's like, nope, even though we even offer incentives, we even say if you go to this pool, they might give you a little bit more. We gave funds to help to distribute the hash rate. None of them bid, right? And I guess one of the biggest blows was when we switched to Firo Power, which is 100% for GPU miners, right? Yeah. It also MTP was kind of NVIDIA friendly, but Firo Power was designed to have both AMD and NVIDIA on a more equal footing. And we saw a lot of opportunistic miners come in, trying to take advantage of the initial difficulty, right? And once they came in, once the difficulty kind of stabilized, they all switched off and moved to basically the next other profitable coin. So we were thinking to ourselves, look, are we, as Christy actually mentioned, are we actually overpaying for security if half of our, block reward goes to miners that don't really have a stake in the project? And I'm not talking even about holding the coins, but they just basically this is another coin to mine that doesn't LHR doesn't affect us, low hash rate cards doesn't affect us, and it's just another coin to exchange it for. Then maybe we should think should we be supporting the miners that aren't really supporting us? I mean, obviously, if miners were a different, they should support, and in a way, that's why we created that proposal and why we've been actively reaching out to miners and saying look, what do you guys think? Please weigh in. And so far in the forums, we haven't really seen much good arguments for that. So again, this is just a proposal. It's not set in stone. The whole point of the proposal is to encourage discussion, and especially, we want the miners because they might be the ones that would be most affected by it. But that's only one element of the proposal. The other element of that proposal is, okay, well, if you're cutting the miners, where's that block reward going to? So first of all, we made it a point when I proposed it, it's look, the development team is not going to take anything extra from this. Of course, there's been some community members say, maybe give 5% more to the dev team, but I don't want to create this controversy that we are trying to enrich the dev team, right? So that's one thing. And so we thought, okay, maybe switch part of it to the masternode owners, which are providing the primary security for our chain. And secondly, to create this separate community fund whereby people can use that fund to do things for Firo. You want to be a community manager, you want to get us on exchanges, you want to, anyone can come up with a proposal and they can get funded from that particular fund. So instead of having it dumped by miners, this separate fund get created from this block reward would be used to, furthering to grow the project. So that's the idea. Obviously, may be unpopular with miners, but it's a discussion that we have to have. And yeah, I guess I would appreciate your thoughts on that as well.
Yeah, man. And so what you just said, obviously, I can't articulate it as well, but I think what you just said is really why I was like, man, I want to talk to this guy, because I feel the passion, man. I feel I feel that you're sincere, right? And when you're saying that, and I can't imagine how frustrating that must be, because you're trying to make it ASIC resistant, right? And you're trying to stay proof of work for us, and you're trying to do so many things for us, and the only thing people are thinking is, let me get my money right now, right? And they're not worried about helping out the community, building it together. And I included, I feel guilty on that, and sorry about that. But I have a question as well. So when people just sell it, right, what are the negative effects? So they mine it, they sell it that day. What is the negative effect to Firo?
I mean, it's just sell pressure, right? And obviously, the main thing that we were, I mean, I have seen other kind of like pseudo proof of work projects succeed. Of course, maybe I guess Flux may be an outlier, but they also had this massive change in their tokenomics that increased their maximum supply by more than double. But like for example, like Pirate, right? They had all their token emission in the first 2 years of their life, almost like more than 90% of it, and it was mined by ASICs, right? And now there isn't really sell pressure for us, because 50%, and because we follow a Bitcoin halving schedule, right? And Bitcoin halving schedule is very inflationary in the first 2 or 3 halvings, right? So when we are now in, we had just had our first halving, so now we're in that second period, right? Inflation is still relatively high, right? And we're giving this inflation to miners. Now, I felt that, I think Bitcoin we cannot compare the success of Bitcoin or Ethereum with now, right? Because the crypto space has really changed completely, right? Like back then, how could you get Bitcoin? There wasn't really, marketplaces. The user base numbers were very low, right? So proof of work really makes sense, right? Especially in countries where they may not have exchanges and stuff like that. Mining was a way to build your community and get it to anywhere in the world, right? As long as you have computing power to do that, right? But now, it's like, look, we've already emitted a good portion of our supply, maybe like in 12, 13 million or 21 million. We've been doing for 6 years, right? It's not as if we are trying to cut out miners like from the get-go, right? And like the route of many masternode coins is that most other masternode coins have masternode voting, right? And we intentionally said no to that because we didn't want masternode owners to be dictating, to be the sole people that decide the future of Firo, because we felt that, look, masternode owners tend to kind of lead to the rich get richer. These people, there was actually like a really huge whale that controlled maybe about 10% of the supply, right? And he wanted to push several proposals that would benefit just masternode holders. And we have seen in other coins, like for example Dash, right? If your governance is based on masternodes, right? If you say, should we cut the miners and give more to masternodes? Obviously, the masternode holders will vote yeah, obviously, right? But we didn't want to do that. We wanted it to be more fair, and that's why we have open forum discussions. We are trying to think of a way to do this, a better way to do DAO voting that is not just about the masternodes. We wanted to make sure that new people can come in and they still have a say regardless of their coin holdings. Because honestly, some people think that, the more coin I have means that I am invested in the coin and therefore I will have the best interest of the coin at heart. When we have actually seen time and time again with even other projects is that large holders of the coin, if they have governance control, they will vote for their own benefit, not necessarily for the good of the coin.
Right. They want their money, right?
Kind of makes sense. Yeah, it's like, it's kind of saying that, if people think coin voting should be run like Jeff Bezos or, Elon Musk should be running the country just because they're rich. And we felt really like strongly against that, right? So yeah, as I said, like, it's just kind of disappointing that the miners have not responded to our calls. Hey, distribute the hash rate. Hey, we want to hear from you guys. And a lot of the negative comments, they're like on the YouTube channel, right? And we're like, please, we want to have all the discussions in the forum so that people can discuss, and we made it easy. You can sign in with your Google account, your Discord account, or whatever, right? Or even if you want your privacy, just sign up with email, right? But only a handful have actually bothered to voice up, which really kind of like reinforces my point that, our Firo miners, actually community members, right? Because if you just mine and dump it, that to me doesn't count as a community member. I mean, yes, you can say that you're indirectly supporting the security, but again, this isn't the primary form of security that Firo has right now, and it just feels like we are giving our coins away to people who don't appreciate us. Again, I may be wrong. I would like to be proved wrong because over the years, I have defended GPU mining. If you look in my past videos on my GPU mining, even a very recent video just months ago, I was explaining why we picked Firo POW. And yeah, I felt that it was just kind of sad that this is kind of happening. And yeah, I guess one of the things that people have told me, there was like, well, that's not the fault of miners. You haven't given them a reason to hold your coin, or you haven't given them a reason to use your coin. And I really think that that's not true. Like, we have done many partnerships with other projects. Like, for example, you can use your Firo and travel in over 2 million over hotels over the world. You can use it to directly pay, right?
Really?
We're building, we're on Travala, so you can really like pay for any sort of like hotel. Most hotel chains would accept it, and we aren't seeing that. We aren't, and we even like recently got integrated with Binance Pay. You can even like do all these loads up using Bitrefill. Obviously, Americans can't use Binance Pay, but it's not that we haven't been doing anything. And at the same time, you have to realize that the development team only gets 15%. That means 85% goes to the community, right? And we aren't like let's say a centrally allocated coin where they say 15 to 20% dev team, but they have 20% ecosystem fund, 20% other like exchange fund, right? And that's still under the control of the team. We just have the 15%, and we don't even get it up front. We get it in trickles, right? That means when we want to do things, we don't have this huge amount of money. So at the end of the day, Firo is a community project. I mean, anyone can tell that our budget is, none of us are getting rich out of it. We're doing it for the passion and for the belief on what we're doing. And we're putting out like groundbreaking privacy cryptographic research. So two things that we've been actually did. We did and funded research on MTP, which was like, ASIC resistant mining algorithm. And then we then funded a lot of research in privacy, right? What other coin can you say is not just like taking a protocol from like Zcash or adopting Ring CT or using some sort of Mimblewimble thing, but we're actually creating our privacy protocols, paying for the audits, really having a real alternative to let's say ZK Snarks or Ring CT. I mean, I'm personally very flattered that Monero's next kind of privacy protocol called Seraphis actually looks very similar to Lelantus Spark. Of course, there's going to be some differences in the way we implement it, which I guess we can talk about later. But we really have stayed true to our purpose, and it's just kind of unfortunate that our kind of ideals about GPU mining and commodity mining have kind of kind of feels like, it's been like a bit more mercenary than anything. And I would love to see that change. If miners say like, no, we support the project, we love what you do, we will continue, we will support you guys. And that doesn't mean not selling, but just like contributing to the community, talking in the forums, building tools about it. We would love that, right? Or even just shifting hash rate away from 2 miners. I love 2 miners, but just show us that you care about the coin more than just another thing to mine. So yeah, kind of ranted a lot about that.
Man, that was a good. You're hitting me right here, man. Like, and I am very guilty of getting so blinded by the money and only thinking about the money. I know there's a lot of people out there that are like that as well, man. And it's hard to not think about the money, but when you say it like that, man, like I do feel guilty, and I feel like, man, there's more I could do, and I actually want to help you. Like, for the record, chat, like Reuben did not approach me. I wanted to do this because I heard what he was saying on his stream, and I was like, man, this guy really cares. Yeah, I could feel it, the sincerity, man, and it means a lot to me personally. And I have a question. So a lot of the awesome things that you're saying about Firo, I hear with Raven. So is there a big difference? What are they, if there's any? If you can talk on that.
I mean, well, Raven isn't a privacy coin, right? They are basically just doing asset token issuance. They also use a variant of PropPal, which is Kapow, right? I think there are very minimal differences between our mining algorithms, because we felt that PropPal is pretty good work. I don't think that we should be spending too much resources on coming up with a mining algorithm, especially. We already went down that path and spent a lot of development time. We realized that, hey, PropPal is designed by people with both hardware and software, and the actual miners. So they kind of know what they're talking about, and they know about, the hardware design, right? So we just use a small variant to kind of fit our block times, to fit, what's the starting DAG size that we want. But we, I guess, like, if you are mining Raven, right, a lot of the tweaks would also apply to Firo Power as well. So that's great. And, it also means that existing mining software, we don't have to develop existing mining software from scratch. Existing PropPal or Kapow miners can be modified relatively easy to mine Firo Power. But, Raven hasn't, as far as I know, they just focus on asset and token issuance. But for us, it's about privacy and now private assets, right? Assets that you can transact in a private manner. So yeah, I guess that's the main difference. Yeah.
Okay, excellent, man. Something I was thinking about while you were speaking. Okay, so you're saying, just to be clear, the mining rewards that are being proposed to be lowered a little bit to the miner, that's not going to the devs at all, right?
No.
Like, as far as y'all. No. So is that the only way that Firo can grow? Is that the only way that you can afford to get different contracts, to promote things, to expand as a coin?
So I think, in particular, privacy coins as a whole have suffered, right? I mean, of course, there are a few exceptions, right? But in general, like, if you take a look, like, even you say Monero, has it done well? No, it's fallen down the ranking. Zcash, they have a world-class research team. They are barely staying in the top 100, right? And there's this general feeling of privacy coins are for illicit activity. Obviously, I don't agree on this, but privacy coins have had it particularly hard, right? And we did not, in this last bull run, I think I feel that it's over, right? Obviously, there's a bit of hopium and hoping like this is just a minor correction, but let's assume that this bull run's over. What actually did well in this bull run? In the first part, it was DeFi, it was dog coins. I'm not. Yeah, you know what I mean, like Doge, right, Shiba, and all that. And you have very elaborate, I would say almost Ponzi money, kind of like stuff like Olympus Finance, right? Like it's an experiment in game thing, or some people might just call it an elaborate Ponzi scheme. Right? I think it's kind of like in between, right? And then you have NFTs, and that's about it, right? I think I felt that those were the ones that benefited the most. Privacy has really kind of languished as a general sector, right? If you bought like the FTX like privacy basket, you would have been better off almost buying in any other sector or dot coins, right? So is this the only way? Obviously not. I mean, this is just a proposal, right? Maybe we should not be focusing on privacy anymore, but I would hate to abandon that. I don't know, like okay, whatever your viewpoint on mask or vaccines, the what's happening in Canada where the government is what I feel, imposing draconian places to freeze people money, and now there's increasing now they're saying the regulation is coming where the FBI can seize Bitcoin stuff, right? And we are also seeing the rise of what we call CBDCs, right? Which is like central bank digital currencies, right? Basically currencies that the government controls, can cut you off, can set rules to it, right? Yeah. And to me, to preserve the original kind of purpose of cryptocurrency beyond meme coins, and look, I have nothing against meme coins or NFTs and stuff like that, but I feel that we've kind of lost our purpose, right? Like, this might sound controversial, but I got into Bitcoin in early 2013 because it was money, not this digital gold thing. I mean, people may hate on me on that, but this was an alternative money, right? And we kind of lost sight of that, and I feel that the only coin that's kind of used like a currency right now is Monero. And they have amazing utility, but price-wise, it hasn't done that well, So, obviously, we would appreciate a shift in narrative. People understand the importance of privacy coins, but what can we do that to make Firo better, right? Obviously, when I propose this sort of stuff, we have taught many ways. We have been thinking maybe we should not be a standalone chain. Maybe we should be integrating our privacy technology into Avalanche and get some sort of VC funding and stuff like that. But that seems like very, let's put it this way. Those kind of approaches would make me a lot richer than just, developing on Firo, right? But
right.
I really believe that, there is value in our work. And in a way, this sounds bad, but Firo is a real passion of mine. I don't promise everyone getting rich or returns. Obviously, we all would like to benefit from this, but I believe whatever it is, Firo is contributing to really key. When the world needs privacy, our privacy tech will be there. When the world needs decentralized money, we will be there. Maybe it might not be Firo, but our technology, whatever it is that we have built, is already going to be used by many of these privacy coins. So we hope that people see the value in us and really help us with that. So I don't really believe in huge pivots. I mean, in a way, we were thinking maybe we should stop building privacy protocols and start looking at this privacy infrastructure play. That is one of the things that we have been thinking about. Look, the market doesn't care what privacy protocol you use. It's about the utility, and maybe they're right. Multi-coin Capital actually, several years before wrote the thing that privacy coins have no role. They've developed the tech, but the privacy tech should be used in other chains like Ethereum or Bitcoin or whatever chain it is. I disagree because, you have so many brilliant minds working on Ethereum or whatnot. When your protocol isn't designed for privacy from the get-go, you're gonna have a lot of you're gonna have a lot of like trade-offs, right? Like for example, we're partnered with Railgun and been helping to test their product, which what they do is they're using ZK Snarks on Ethereum. You can transfer a bunch of tokens privately using ZK Snarks, right? And it costs about $1,000 to do a transaction in fees.
Oh, wow.
And I just that's just on-chain fees, right? You're just paying it to the miners, and then people say, oh well, you can have a layer 2 and whatnot. Layer 2s, it's a bit different. If you expect people to bridge out to this layer 2, why not just bridge out to us, where we support, we can support many different chains and have all these privacy features at really cheap. So yeah, I think that's a good question. I mean, obviously this is just one of many proposals that we're thinking about. We are really trying to make Firo flourish, but we think that, I think one of the things that we were really thinking about when we made that proposal was, look, one of the problems of having a dev fee is that community members expect us to do everything, and that's a real problem, right? It would have been better to have a pre-mine or something else, or claim that we have fair distribution, even though you didn't bother about GPU miners or anything like that. And then you have your bag, and then you push it. But
Right.
even though we get 15%, we say you have to do everything. Get us on Coinbase, get us on this exchange. Look, dude, do you know how much it takes to get on Binance? It's like a couple of $1 million, right? Do you know how much it takes to? Yeah,
Wow.
that time. And now I don't. Even now, let's say you want to get on KuCoin, it's a couple $100,000 US, right? And if we're earning 50,000 a month, how in the world are we going to? How do you expect us to do that, right? And therefore, we need to go down the community route, because 85% of the supply, Baby Doge or Shiba Inu or whatnot, there's no development fund. It's just huge, strong community members going, we want to see this on here and there, and that creates, the exchanges list them for free, rather than us, as the core team members. And we have seen this problem not just in our project, but take a look at other projects like Zcash, right? Yes, they are super well funded, super thing, but community participation, not really. Everything's kind of with the dev team. Beam also doing really cool stuff. Also another proof of work coin, kind of languishing as well. We're kind of in that same boat. Even though it's really frustrating, right?
Yeah, I bet.
I think the frustration comes true, but yeah.
Man, yeah, like you said, and I think you mentioned it once or twice, the meme coins. That's what people are excited about, man. That's what people are tweeting about. That's what people are talking about. Dogecoin, really? Unlimited supply? Really? That's what people are excited for, man. Shiba Inu. Well, we should be, including myself, I'm guilty of this, admittedly. We should be excited for projects like Firo, man. Like, you guys care. That means a lot to me on a personal level, and I'm gonna do better personally. So
it's like payments haven't payments for cryptocurrency, unfortunately isn't sexy anymore. And what more, private payments is even worse. Everyone's just like store of value, let's get rich, laser eyes, blah blah blah. That to me is really sad. Like when I entered the space in 2013, I felt that the people who were building were genuine because they cared about what they were trying to build. Now it's about how much I can raise from a VC, how hard I can pump this, and NFTs. I'm not saying they're shit, but sometimes it is frustrating. We're spending so much time and thinking maybe it's just what the market wants, right? The market wants dog coins. The market wants memes rather than cryptographic research, and maybe that's valid, but it's also kind of sad.
yeah, man. Okay, so there was a tweet 23 hours ago from y'all, and feel free to comment how you'd like. As we watch countries, even supposedly democratic ones, locking out people from access to their own money, it is clear that private cryptocurrencies like Firo will become a critical part of the fight for our freedom. Can you explain that?
Sure. Like we know what's happening in Canada, where people are being denied access to their own money. Like we thought that these things were only what, shit countries do, right? Or like countries in like really bad state. Like I don't know if you remember, but back then, Cyprus kind of said, oh, your bank account balances will be forfeiting 50% of them or something like that, right? And in you kind of think like, oh, it'll never happen in a developed country, right? And yet in Canada, like, we've seen people actually being cut off from the financial system. I mean, even in China, that's happening. They've already started rolling out their own, like hardly anyone uses cash in China. It's all digital payments, right? And now they're coming out with kind of like a CBDC, right? The digital renminbi, and people don't see the dangers of that. To me, if you value the reining in of power of government, you should be really fighting against CBDCs, right? And what are CBDCs, right? Basically, central bank. Just imagine with a CBDC, they can impose like negative interest rates like remotely, right? Like,
wow.
or like you can do that, right? Or I can say, oh, you're not gonna be able to pay to this and this and this. And personally, why I got into cryptocurrencies, like I started a VPN business in 2007, and I'm doing nothing illegal, right? I'm just providing privacy tools, right? And I was cut off from many payment providers. The credit card companies didn't want to accept my payment. PayPal also like put me under like several times. They had to like query me about my business. They suspended it, reinstated it, and whatnot. But in the end, PayPal was the main way. And To Checkout also said, no, we don't take VPN companies anymore. There was another payment processor as well. And I was like, look, I'm not doing anything illegal. I'm basically like, it's completely within the law. There's nothing to say that VPNs are illegal. I'm just using technology to provide privacy on the internet, right? And being cut off from all of that really made me think like, wow, because someone said, why don't you accept crypto? And I was like, well, sure, and I accepted crypto, and I was like, wow, I don't need anyone's permission to do this stuff, right? Yeah. And that's pretty powerful. I was like, this is kind of what we need, the kind of like with cash, right? Like if you want to come in, you have to come and get it, not just press a button remotely and get me locked out of the system, right? I'm not saying that all seizures of money are bad and stuff like that, but it should not be so easy that without like very minimal investigation, or I don't like this person, I can just really cut you off from the financial system. And I think one of the things that kind of like foreshadowed what might become, what this like CBDCs might come was because I do boxing, I run an Aikido dojo, I do like a lot of martial arts, and I follow this guy called Xu Xiaodong in China. He's a bit of an ass. He's an MMA guy, and he goes and challenges all this traditional Chinese martial arts guys like Tai Chi, Wushu, and he challenges them to like a fight and beats them up, right? Which is okay, a bit of an asshole, but look, there's nothing wrong. These guys agreed to fight, right? And he basically insulted this Tai Chi master, and this Tai Chi master reported him to the authorities. And obviously China, wants these traditional Chinese martial arts to be venerated. As a result, his social credit score was downgraded, and he could not use, his money to stay in a good hotel. He could not travel with an aeroplane. He could not take like first class trains. So right, that means like the government basically can say, like, look, you're an undesirable citizen. I'm cutting you off from the system. And look, what has he? Yes, he's an asshole, but does it warrant cutting him away from the financial system, right? Where is that line, right? He's not posing a risk to the community or anything like that, right? And having a CBDC really means like, in the US, everyone's like, oh, we got to have the right to have guns, right? Because if the government tries to mess us up, we can rise up against them and stuff like that, right? Well, okay, you can have your guns, but what happens if they cut access to your money? What the heck are you gonna do then, right? like what are you going to do? Where are you going to buy? Where are you going to do anything? How can you fight a government or an authoritarian government if you don't have access to your own money, right? You want to organize any sort of resistance, you need money. So people don't see that, and I feel that the way things are going, like you're seeing, Bitcoin having their transactions. Like if you go through a coin join or some sort of mixer, it gets flagged and stuff like that. And now, like a lot of this on-chain analysis firms are trying to push this narrative that you need blockchain analysis to fight against anti-money laundering. And if you can't do that on the chain, you should ban them, which is like also total bullshit, right? And these are all just narratives being pushed to effectively give control to authoritarians or governments, right? And I feel that money is a public utility like the internet, and cryptocurrencies provide this public utility, this permissionless public utility. And if you don't know what I hold, right? Like you see the problem with Bitcoin and Ethereum, I pay you. You suddenly you see my address, you have an idea of what I have and what I've done, right? Or can trace it back to this exchange or whatnot and try to de-anonymize you, right? But if that information, if I pay you and you get no additional information about me, like how when I pay for a cup of coffee at the local coffee store, he should not know my net worth or anything like that. That really preserves the protection, right? I can't be victimized. I can't be judged based on my financial holdings. So yeah, I feel that privacy coins really fit that need. Like, if you want like good privacy, you want uncensorability, that's what privacy coin does. And that's kind of what I meant when I was saying like, this is an essential element to fight against this type of things, because we are going down a very scary path and we are seeing very, very little kickback. Like, people are just, oh yeah, privacy coins for money laundering. It wouldn't happen to us, my bags are safe. Bitcoin's okay being transparent, blah, blah, blah. It's kind of sad. Yeah.
Dang, man. You hit home. That hit right here. Reuben spitting facts, straight knowledge out here, man. That is I can't imagine being cut off. They just completely, you can't be alive anymore. Basically, you can't buy anything, you can't do anything. How can they just cut people off? That's wild, man. Now, on a positive note,
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Reuben. Go ahead.
Like in the US, there's been 2 acts that have been really very craftily done. Like I think it was this sex. It was supposed to protect sex workers. Instead, it actually like backfired. I think it was like the SESTA Act. I wouldn't go too much into it. You can Google about it and see like whether is this really about protecting sex workers or getting more control. Like the Child Protection Act. I can't remember the exact words for it, but that act to protect children. Basically, social media companies and all these like messaging platforms have to log every single message. Right, I mean that's freaking nuts. Like yes, what do you call it? How do I say it without using the word CSAM? Right, like child sexually exploitative material. Let's just call that CSAM. Right. Yes, it is a problem, but that doesn't mean that you should abandon all encryption and everyone should log everything. Right, and they have specifically pick this Child Protection Act, the words, because if you're against it, you are a pedophile or something like that, right? That's freaking scary, right? Because people just look at the name of the act without actually looking at the substance, and all these are things to erode our privacy and control, right? Can you just imagine like no more end-to-end encryption? Now the government can see all your messages and stuff like that. There's a reason why big portions of iCloud aren't end-to-end encrypted, even though the technology is there. but because of governments saying that, telling Apple, no, we're not comfortable with you providing end-to-end encryption. And now even Apple has this freaking backdoor in their phones that basically scan your phones for pictures, and
I did not know that.
if they identify if they identify any of this CSAM material, it'll be reported, right? And you think, oh yeah, I'm not a pedophile. I don't have anything to worry about. This thing is just like additional protection or whatnot, right? But think about it, it's like that too can easily be modified to look for other types of pictures, right? It's just a freaking backdoor sitting in our phones, right? Like, and it's all done in the name to protect children. When is it really? Like, if the actual offenders knew about it, they're just like, oh, well, I'm not going to use an iPhone. I'm just use my regular camera and take this sort of stuff and distribute it in the ways that I know. This isn't really going to help, protect children, right? It's kind of like saying that. I used to say that, yes, we all have a danger of falling in the bathroom and hitting our head and dying, but that doesn't mean the government should put a CCTV in every room and watch us in the bathroom, right? I mean, that's
valid point.
About proportionality, and people don't see that, and it's just every day our rights are being eroded, and every day people are saying that privacy coins are only for illicit activity, and it's very unfortunate that, it's kind of painted in that light. Yeah.
Man, hitting home. Firo, the people's coin. That's all I'm hearing right now. That's all I'm hearing. The people's coin. Okay, on a positive note, Trade Ogre, I did see on the 16th of February.
That's right.
What's up with that, man? It got on the exchange?
Yeah. So we were actually trying to get a Trade Ogre for a long time. And I think when the call team reached out, we didn't really get much of a response. But when several community members started reaching out to Trade Ogre and like, hey, add Firo and stuff like that, they added us. And Trade Ogre is a centralized exchange, but they do a focus on privacy coins, and they also have, I think, almost no KYC requirements. Obviously they're kind of living in the gray area or maybe in the black area, but it is always good to I hope that they are genuine, and it's always good to be on an exchange that requires minimal identity requirements, and hopefully they'll be here to stay. Obviously we are developing. We also have a atomic swap DEX that should be launched pretty soon, and that allows cross-chain. Like, I can swap with Avalanche coins, I can swap with Ethereum coins, all using atomic swaps, no centralized infrastructure. We're doing that in collaboration with the Atomic DEX guys, which are linked to Komodo. So that's pretty cool.
That's positive news, man. I like hearing stuff like that. From a miner's view, I saw somebody ask this earlier. Are there any plans to change the algorithm? Because a lot of people are talking about, just like how, Kapow it's very harsh on the graphics card. Or is it more important to be ASIC resistant? What is your viewpoint on that?
I don't know. I mean, like, I actually feel like the wear and tear of cards. I mean, I'm a miner myself. I mean, I wouldn't call myself like a huge scale miner, but I run like 8 or 10 graphics cards. Just for fun and to support networks that I want, right? So it's not as if I don't know what you're talking about. But these graphic cards are actually designed to be, worked really hard. As long as you maintain their fans, right? Like, I mean, even Linus Tech Tips, they took this graphics card that was like mining 24/7 for 5 years, right? And they compared it with the performance, and they were like, no, as long as it turns on, there's very little degradation. There's no degradation in performance. It works. Whether you work it hard or not is a separate thing. And yes, people may say, oh, well, it's really hard on my card, but it was designed to do that because the whole point of a prop POW was to basically make GPUs the ASIC, right? And when you're making GPUs the ASIC, that means you're utilizing all parts of the GPU as much as you can. And I feel that, I mean, personally, this might be, again, controversial, that ASICs do not really kind of fit in the mode of fair distribution. Of course, in theory, anyone can get an ASIC, but I think if anyone has tried to get an ASIC, especially for I have done ASIC mining before, and it was a freaking pain to get ASICs, and they're constantly sold out, right? And I think there's also kind of like a misalignment of interest that if I am an ASIC manufacturer, why should I be selling these money-making machines to you? I could be mining them myself, which is what Bitmain used to do, right? I don't know about now. They kind of fallen off the map since the whole like Jihan Wu thing, but they were just selling a small proportion and keeping a lot of it for their own farm. So they sold a bit to have some cash flow, but the people who are creating it have an unfair advantage over the people who don't make these things. And Bitcoin is supposedly one of the most developed ASIC ecosystems out there. We are still seeing only a handful of ASIC manufacturers who have a great degree of control over the supply of these things. And you've seen that with Dash, you've seen that with Litecoin, right? There's only or even Zcash miners. There's really only a small handful of companies, 2, 3, maybe, of these players. And compared to graphics cards, yes, there are only 2 or 3 people who, 2 or 3 manufacturers who build these graphics cards, but they're not just used for mining, they're used for all sorts of things, and they're not like, limited. Well, now obviously because of COVID, everything's limited in supply, but it's not like they're taking these cards and using it to mine, and therefore there's less of a conflict of interest there. Yeah.
And like you just mentioned with the ASICs, for those newer miners out there that have no idea, a lot of the times people will just use the newest, best technology with ASICs for months on end before they're released to the public, get massive amounts of coins, and then you get the leftovers where graphics cards it's not really that bad, right? You kind of know NVIDIA's coming out with the new 3090 Ti, AMD's coming out with whatever they're coming out with, and we all get it. So that's even more of the reason to, enjoy something like, or promote something like a Firo and support something like that, man. That makes me happy.
I'm actually interested to hear from you. Like what makes you excited about mining? Why do you think mining is important? I mean, I of course have my own views, and I love mining. I mean, I've been mining. I have like N miner S1. I did a S2. I even did some videos from like dealing with this big crane T110 water cooled home miners.
That's cool, man. Let's see some videos.
I'll link them later. But definitely, I'm interested to know, like, from a miner perspective. Obviously now I don't think if you buy a graphics card right now, you are expecting to break even for a very, very long time, right? So I may be wrong. I don't know, but I'm like doing the math, and I'm like, unless you got it a long time ago, any sort of new cards that you acquire now aren't really going to be making money unless there's a huge bull run. So I'm very interested to know why are miners mining? Is it just a hobby? Why? What motivates them to do so? Right? Yeah.
Okay, so initially I started crypto mining with a 960 GTX 960 back in, I don't remember, 2017, 18. I don't remember, the last bull run, and I was on Nice Hash, and I was making like 60 cents a day, and I was like, crypto is a scam. So I got back into it a little over a year ago. Actually, it might be a year now where I really seriously started to get into it. But to be honest with you, it's an addiction. I'm so addicted to it, man. I love it, man. I love the idea of, we don't have to worry about fiat currencies. Well, in theory, before we heard what you had to say, right? But I love the idea of it, and I love building it. It makes me happy, man. As a content creator, I like making videos. The community is so close. I've been in like the gaming community. I used to stream on Twitch and stuff, and it's all doggy dog, man. Nobody helps each other out. And the mining community is just completely different, man. At least in my Discord and the people that I interact with, it's just the love of it, man. Plus the addiction. Let me tell you, we are addicted bad. I love it. And
it's not just about the profits, right? I mean, that's why I realized, but then I'm saying like, well, when it comes to Firo, why have we lacked, right? So that's why I'm like, a bit confused, because obviously I love GPU mining. I have GPU miners myself, and I love the fun of it, even though it's not profitable. I mean, it covers my electric bill and earns a little bit, but it's just like seeing coins appear in your wallet, like generating money from electricity. there's a certain cool factor about it, and
Yeah.
the tweaking and the cooling, and actually my mother-in-law used to describe to her friends, like, although I'm not like a serious miner, but she didn't really understand what I did. She's like, oh yeah, my son-in-law digs money using computers, and I just found that hilarious.
That's such a cool idea, man, that a machine can earn money, for you. That's great, man. So I have something else. I did ask a lot of people in my Discord what they wanted to ask.
Yes.
So as a miner, we are all scared of Ethereum. Okay, and that's really bad for us. But as someone who's doing an altcoin, how does that feel? Are you excited for that? That, you know what, finally things are going to change. People are going to explore. They're going to go to Firo. They're going to go to Flux. They're going to try out Raven. And it's going to be like this new experience for everybody. What do you think on that?
I don't know. I don't have my hopes up, right? But maybe I'm a lawyer. I mean, I used to be a lawyer for 10 years before going full into the crypto space. So I'm generally more on the negative side. But I feel that, like, wheel miners, it really depends on I felt that with Bitcoin, like, or ASIC miners, it was very clear that the success of the coin is dependent. The success of their mining and the mining operations is very dependent on the success of their coin, right? Like if I have a Bitcoin ASIC, I need Bitcoin to go up. If I'm building Bitcoin ASICs, I need Bitcoin to go up, and therefore we would only see, like prior to that time, Bitmain releasing a new end miner, there tends to be a kind of like a pump, right, to kind of support their new launch, right? So of course there's no evidence, but every time there's a new, upcoming release of their end miner, there would be a Bitcoin price increase, right, to make Bitcoin maybe more attractive. With GPU mining, there isn't that same incentive, right? Like, because there's so many coins to mine, right? And GPU miners tend, they aren't necessarily large corporations. Even those that are running industrial farms, they mine many different coins, right? They mine all sorts of things. So mainly, okay, maybe now Ethereum, but would they say that, okay, look, I want to focus on Firo, and I'm going to pump up the price or whatnot? I don't know. Maybe we have a lot more hash rate, but at the end of the day, the hash rate is a function of like how many miners come to your network, is also on profitability, right? Like, we have about 1,500 miners now, right? With X number of market cap. To attract more miners, that price has to go up so that it can support more miners, right? But we aren't the only coins that are mineable. There's so many out there, right? And I would be surprised if hash rate gets kind of like, maybe Raven will be the main beneficiary. I don't know, right? But I've never seen a case where I may be completely wrong on this. I mean, I defer to you guys who are more familiar with this, but I've never kind of seen, GPU miners, supporting a coin and going yay, and then the price goes up. It feels mercenary to me, but I may be completely wrong on this. So personally, I don't have my hopes up, and what I felt was like, we don't really know when Ethereum is going to proof of stake. I mean, it's been delayed so many times, and it feels very weird to not try to address the problems that we're having right now, and just have this hope that if we keep proof of work, these miners will come with us and support us. I don't think that's going to necessarily be the case, because like, we support miners now, and even in certain times, there were certain times where we were more profitable than Ethereum. We haven't seen that miner support. So I'm obviously interested to see what happens, but I'm not like, wow, this is definitely going to, of course this is a narrative that, all proof of work coins that are GPU mine are going to be pumping like crazy once Ethereum dies. I think people are going to be disappointed, but happy to be proved wrong. But I appreciate to hear your thoughts on that.
There are people who support you, man. Do you know who Red Fox Crypto is?
Yes, I know. Yes.
Dude, he talks about you I'd say at least once a month. I've spoken to him a couple times,
Mhm.
man. And if you ever say anything about Firo, if somebody in the chat says something bad about Firo, he goes, whoa, 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 whoa. Don't ever talk about my Firo. I'm serious,
Thank you, Red
man.
Fox.
Yeah, man. He's got...
with the same color, red Fox and red, right?
Yeah, man. He's a supporter, and I've seen Red Panda Mining. I know you know Red Panda Mining. He's
red, right? It's
right.
So funny.
That's what it is. It's the red. He said a lot of positive things. I know he was solo mining. I don't know if he's doing it at the moment, but I know he wasn't for quite some time, man. And don't give up faith, man. There's a lot of people that really like Firo, including myself. I like Firo.
I really hope to see, like, you know, the miners coming into our forums and I'm not asking you to defend your position, but just chime in, you know, and do it in a constructive way. And I think even if the community sees that, then they'll be like, yeah, you know, miners are an important part of a community. But so I really, you know, that's why if you notice, if all my posts, even though the proposals hurt miners, I'm saying, miners, we want to hear from you, especially you. You know, this is your chance to voice out. And people are like, you know, my YouTube channel, why should I sign up for your forums? You know, like,
right.
That's frustrating, right?
They're not asking for money, folks. They're just asking for feedback. That's it. That's it, guys. I'm sure we could all do that.
Yeah.
So I got one more question, unless there's something else you want to add. If there was
No.
one thing to convince people to consider mining Firo or keeping their coin, what would that be?
I'm a very bad shiller, but you know, like, if you really believe, like, you know, I guess in the origin, I mean, you know, proof of work mining and miners are kind of like a special breed. We tend to be more OG than others, right? You know, we tend to have been it for a while, and most of you would have probably gotten into mining because of the original attraction of cryptocurrencies, which was this alternative financial system and money that, you know, was uncensorable, was private, was, you know, basically no one can take control of it. Your money is your money, be your own bank and all of that, right? Yes, you know, price on the other side, it is what are the fundamentals that we are doing. And I feel that Firo has really ticked off all those boxes. You know, we are genuine. You know, yes, we have a dev reward, but we are not making a lot of money out of it. You know, we have dedicated our technology to decentralization technologies like MTP, to build, you know, friendly proof of work algorithm systems, and at the same time, we are really building really cool privacy tech. Like, I haven't even explained how the privacy tech works, right? Our privacy tech, you know, is not like mixing with other people and whatnot. Basically, we take coins, we burn them, and then at any time in the future, you can redeem them for brand new ones with no previous transaction history, right? So that's a pretty unique thing. You know, we don't have trusted setup. You know, we don't have like opaque development. Everything is freaking in the open. So if you want to support projects that stand for this, right, that they actually care about the community, and this is why we're having all this discussions. If we didn't care, we would have just gone down the masternode route and just have them dictate everything, right? So I really would like to see, you know, especially miners who may be the more OGs, you know, I guess put their hash rate where they feel, you know, the aligns with their views. I hope there's a lot of us, and I do think that, you know, only if we start changing the narrative, and I hope, you know, now we are already starting to see our privacy and our individual rights being attacked, and even now this you know, crappy ESG narrative that mining is bad for the environment, which is freaking bullshit, especially when it's coming from a guy that builds electric cars, right? Consumption of electricity in itself isn't bad for the environment. So I hope that people, you know, put their money where they say their ideals are, and Firo is not just a project that's aligned with those values, but with a really world-class team that's putting out innovative stuff. And yeah, we care. We really care. I think. I hope that it expresses it. We even have this new voting mechanism using our Lelantus technology that allows anonymous but verifiable voting, and you can't even see ballot progress. You can't see how the votes are progressing, which is something that all DAOs lack, and most DAOs don't care because it's about, it's governance theater. It's not real governance, but we really care about making the right decision and doing good by the community. So yeah, I know that was a long spiel, but
that was
yeah.
beautiful, man. that was poetry right there, Rube. Seriously, that was poetry, man. Thank you, man. Is there anything else you want to tell the people?
I know. I mean, like, obviously, we would love to see you guys join our channels. We have Discord, we have Telegram, we have forums, multiple ways to get involved. We even released this little cute game called Firo Runner, where you can compete to earn Firo as an endless runner. There's even like we actually recently raised money using NFTs for privacy research. We raised about $12,000. So that was pretty cool. So, yeah. So we love this type of thing. So if there's any way you want to contribute, we are more than happy to have you. If there's something you want to see, we want to hear. Not so much about when is the price going to go up, but what can Firo do for you, and what can you do for Firo, and what are we trying to build? What is the world that we are trying to build, and that's what Firo is all about. Yeah.
Reuben Shakespeare. Thank you, man. It's been an honor. Thank you so much for coming on. Short notice, by the way. In 12 hours.
Yeah, but thank you so much. 12 hours, that's right. Yeah.
All right, brother. Thank you, man. Peace.